Did you have the instance where you looked at homes that were out of your price range and that you fell in love with that in the end you were not able to financially afford?
Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely did. When we first started, we kind of thought, oh, I think this is our budget. And we kind of stuck with that. And we were looking at houses within that price range and talked with our lender and, got some numbers going and, quickly realized that, oh, that actually is not in the budget.
My name is Julia Spooner, and I'm a loan officer here at SurePath Lending. And this is Faith Nichols, who works for Ebby Holiday, and she's a realtor.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm Faith Nichols with Ebby Holiday. It's been a journey. I started this journey in April, so it's been fun so far. So thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. Well, you just bought your first house.
I did.
And so I just kind of want to hear about the process of being a first-time home buyer and how it went, the positives, the negatives, your experience as a realtor.
Yes.
So how was it looking for houses and the process and being on that side?
Yeah, it's definitely a process for sure. I will say it definitely takes a lot of time. I thought maybe it wouldn't take as much time as it did. It definitely took months. We toured so many houses. I couldn't even tell you how many houses that we saw. But it was great because I was the realtor and I was also the home buyer. So I really got to see from the business side and also from the homeowner side what they have to deal with and all the questions and problems that come up that maybe you wouldn't even have thought about in the first place, because there were so many things that I was like, as a realtor, I was also learning for the first time, but then also as a home buyer, I was like, oh wow, I need to know that too.
Yeah.
So there were so many elements that I had to learn and figure out, but honestly, it was stressful, but it was good. I'm glad to be done with that process.
So being a first-time home buyer and a realtor, you said it took months and months. So what do you think that your recommendation would be for people who are just starting to think, they want to move out of their lease at their house or their apartment? What do you believe from a realtor's aspect? You said you saw so many houses.
Right.
What is a good time frame for people who are interested in looking to purchase for their first home? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think from a lender side, they typically want, 120 days to close, or what is it, like 90 to 120 days, something like that?
So once it depends on the process. So when we do those pre-approvals, there's a time frame that you have that the pre-approval is used for. Typically, that's that 120 days.
Right.
So if you're starting to look, make sure that you always get pre-approved first. So you're not going to look at those houses and you're like, oh, I love this house. And then come to find out after months of visiting homes, you realize that I can't afford this. So that's why we always say,
Exactly.
when you start to look, make sure you're getting that pre-approved.
Exactly. That was about to be my next point, of just making sure you're in that timeline of not shopping too early, because that was kind of a problem that my husband and I experienced. Was he was getting so excited that he kind of started to shop too early. And like I said, it was just way too early in the process. So we needed to wait and slow down.
Yeah,
and
you ended up
just
looking at too many homes and getting...
Exactly. And, you got to account your move-in date and, all those things that just kind of go into it. So it was a lot.
So, for instance, you said that you looked at so many houses, and I know your husband is not in the market, so you had to probably explain a lot of different things.
Yes.
Did you have the instance where you looked at homes that were out of your price range and that you fell in love with that in the end you were not able to financially afford?
Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely did. When we first started, we kind of thought, oh, I think this is our budget. And we kind of stuck with that. And we were looking at houses within that price range and talked with our lender and, got some numbers going and, quickly realized that, oh, that actually is not in the budget. And I think the monthly payment was the biggest thing for us. So we really had to stick within our monthly budget. And that then correlated to the sales price, which we then had to lower, which was completely fine, but we just had to kind of change our expectations and kind of just had to realize that, what you think you can afford might not be what you can actually afford,
Yeah.
and to just be really open about it, because I think that's the best
Yeah, we
way.
see that a lot on the lending side of people or clients who typically don't get pre-approved at the start of the process and have that, oh, I can afford this range, and
Yes.
sometimes it's a lot lower. Sometimes it's correct, but 9 out of 10 times what you think you can afford is what you actually can afford, and
Yes.
that's why it's so important to get that pre-approval so you're
Yes.
not breaking your own heart.
Absolutely. And talking to your lender is the
Yes.
biggest thing. I would say that's probably one of my biggest tips and advice to any new homeowners and new home buyers is, get a good lender that you trust and that, communicates with you, honestly, every day or every single other day. That's
Yeah.
what my lender did,
Mhm.
our lender did. So honestly, that probably made the process a lot easier because I
Yeah.
felt like they had our back
Mhm.
and they were always going to be honest and upfront with us.
Yeah, I hear you say communication is
Yes.
extremely important.
It's
That your lender
huge.
talked to you every day or every other day and followed up and was honest with you and told you, hey,
Yes.
Faith, this is not the correct price point. So
Yes.
that's what I hear. Communication is always extremely important to have with your lender or
Yes.
even, being from the lending to realtor side. Communication between
Yes.
that is important. What else do you think from being a realtor and now being a first-time home buyer, what else was important in that process? Did you have things that really stood out to you or things that, maybe your other realtor or lender you had issues with?
Um, I can't think of any lender specific issues. I feel like just maybe the biggest thing is just your expectations and how you think the process is going to go. Whether you're a first time home buyer or second, third, it's, your vacation house, like every process is different. Every lender's different, realtors are different. So I think just having an expectation of things might change and it's probably not going to go the way I think it's going to go.
Yeah, there's hiccups in every
There's
situation.
always hiccups, and the hiccups are fine. You can get past them, but it's just important to know that they will be there.
Yes.
Buying a house is the biggest purchase of your life. So
Yes.
it's definitely super important.
And with those hiccups, making sure there's communications, because I know
Exactly.
that we were talking before that you had another house that you were possibly purchasing
Yes.
before the one that you did, and there was some hiccups on, I think, appraisals or different things too. And you were lucky enough that the lender was there communicating. So I'm glad.
Yes.
That's an important key. Now, as a realtor, what is your advice to first-time home buyers when going through the process?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things my husband and I learned was that whenever we went to go see a new house or go to an open house, we would just drive around the neighborhood in that community in that area just to really see if this was a fit. And I highly recommend that to anyone buying a house because it just really helps you get a feel for the area. And if you just go see the house and you don't even really drive around the neighborhood, you go see closest grocery store, gas station, convenience stores.
Traffic patterns.
Traffic
Yeah.
patterns, exactly. Like even, driving back to a house exactly during high traffic times or even in the morning or, later, I would say that's definitely a big thing that I would definitely recommend to my clients. And just, like I said, keeping your expectations not necessarily low because this is a great experience and an exciting time for everyone. But, just taking your time and realizing it takes time and this hiccups and things that you might not expect will be there, but it will all be okay. And your lender and your title company and your realtor all have your back. So just having a good core team, I think is essential.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think too, with a lot of first-time home buyers, I'm sure you have to have a lot of documentation
Yes.
of different things that you need. And sometimes all the excitement, you're excited to see the house. And the not
Yes.
fun part is sending all that information in and getting that,
Yes.
pre-approval and making sure that everything fits your budget. Because you don't want to drain your bank account to purchase this house.
Exactly.
So making sure that all the communication with that follows.
Exactly. You definitely don't want to drain your savings because you always want to have just a little extra if anything
you need
falls
to
through.
buy some furniture after your house
Yes.
close, not during.
Don't buy any big purchases before closing on your house.
Yes.
PSA, everyone should know this.
Yes. Yes. Do not buy a car. Do not buy
a
furniture. Nothing. Go into the house. If you have no furniture, that is okay.
You will get furniture.
You will
one
get
day.
furniture.
Yes. Facebook Marketplace is your friend.
Now for the fun thing.
Yes.
What is your favorite thing now being a home buyer, you and your husband?
Oh gosh. Well, there's a lot. I would definitely say just being able to be creative and being able to paint a wall.
Yeah.
Haven't been able to do that in years because we've just been renting for so long. So
Now you can put a nail in the wall without having to worry
yes,
about...
it can be bigger than, what is it, a penny or a quarter that rental properties require. So that's definitely just a silly one. But honestly, it's just coming home and knowing that it's your home and that the money that we've spent and all the hard work that you put into it, it's yours and I earned it, and it's going into equity and it's going into our future as a family. I definitely think that's just the biggest thing for us is family and creating that.
It's that space that you guys have now that's yours.
It's our space.
Officially. You're not, when you make your mortgage payment, it's not to someone else.
It's a drop in a bucket, yes, but it's going back to us in some way. So I think that's the best part is it's coming back to us.
I'm really happy for you.
Thank you
Congratulations.
so much.
That's really, really exciting.
Thank you.
I know you guys are happy and it was a process, but finally got there.
It was.
Now, do you have any questions for me before we wrap up?
I was going to say, what is something that you look for realtors, or what's something that really helps you in your job and makes your job easier as far as realtors go?
That's a great question. When I am communicating with my realtors, communication is always one of the biggest things. If your client is, if they've shared something with you that you financially that you think is important, or they are interested in looking at houses at a certain price point that might be outside of the their pre-approved price, just communicating what your clients are feeling, because just like you said, your lender was communicating with you every day or every other day.
Yes.
As a lender, I need to communicate with your client as well every day to ensure that they have confidence in what they're buying as well. And so when you have important information, just sharing that with me and just pick up the phone. I always answer the phone, doesn't matter if it's Saturday or Sunday. Just communication, I think, is the most important thing, and just having those relationships. Yeah, I think that's truly the most important thing. Communication is always key.
I need a sweatshirt.
And honesty. Be honest. You're not going to hurt my feelings.
Exactly.
Like you said, there's hiccups in the jobs as well. If I make a mistake or I say something incorrectly, just communicate with me. And that goes, again, back to communication. Honesty and communication, I think, that is the most important thing.
It's the biggest thing.
Yes. Well, thank you, Faith, for coming. I really appreciate it. I'm glad. I'm happy for you and your purchase of your first home.
Thanks,
I loved learning about it and learning more about the first-time home buying process.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
This was our conversation with Faith Nichols at Ebby Holiday about first-time home buying. If you like this video, subscribe and let us know what we should talk about next.